Jada Pinkett Smith is making news. And she's making news because she's out on the circuit, media circuit, promoting her new book, Worthy. That's the title of her new book. We'll talk about that title a little bit later. Worthy. It's coming out October 17th. And of course, in it, she's dropping a few bombshells, of course. Former Red Table Talk host reveals that she and Will Smith have been living completely separate lives since 2016. That's over 7 years ago. And at this moment, the two of them are still legally married, but are no longer romantically together and haven't been for a very, very long time. On the relationship's demise, she says, why it fractured, that's a lot of things. By the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were both kind of just still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be. But they didn't get divorced because she said, I made a promise that there would never be a reason for us to get a divorce when they first got married. You know, they've been married since 1997. She said, we will work through whatever. I just haven't been able to break that promise. Of course, knowing that her husband slapped the living shit out of Chris Rock on national television, global television, because the Oscars were watched everywhere, she had to bring up Chris Rock, of course. And instead, did we hear an apology? Did we hear anything? No, we haven't heard that. What we heard was that she originally thought Will slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars was a skit, that it wasn't real. She didn't know it was real when she saw Chris Rock's face do damn near 180. When she saw her man's imprints on his left jaw, she thought it was a skit. When she heard that loud ass slap and the audience be aghast. Oh, no. She thought it was a skit. I was like, there's no way that Will hit him. It wasn't until Will started to walk back to his chair that I even realized it wasn't a skit. And of course, last but not least, she had to drop dime, as they say, on Chris Rock, claiming he asked her out for a date. He asked her out on a date, explaining, I think every summer all the reports would come out that me and Will were getting a divorce. In this particular summer, Chris, he thought that we were getting a divorce. So he called me and basically he was like, I'd love to take you out. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, aren't you and Will getting a divorce? I was like, no, Chris, those are just rumors. He was appalled and he profusely apologized, and that was that. I'm qualified to have this conversation. I did write a memoir, Straight Shooter. A memoir of second chances and first takes, New York Times bestseller. By the way, once you're a New York Times bestseller, you are one forever. That is the creme de la creme of being an author. And I am a New York Times bestseller, so I kind of understand. But that's not the subject that I'm at right now. You see, I have to confess to you that being a Christian, loving God, certainly not fully enmeshed in spirituality the way that I should be. I'm a spiritual individual. I pray every morning. I pray every night. I know there's a higher being, that there's a heavenly Father watching over me. But let's just say I'm trying to get to where he wants me to go. I'm just not there yet. But when it comes to forgiveness, I'm usually that dude. People cross me, don't even have to apologize. They just can come up to me and say, hey, man, can we just squash this? Let bygones be bygones. I'm good, man. Peace is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Ain't no reason to have all this animosity towards everybody and all this other stuff. Really no need for it. But I'm going to say this. It's pretty hard for me to forgive Will Smith. It's not my place. My forgiveness doesn't matter, as does most of ours. Here's what I mean. And if Will Smith is listening, I hope he hears me when I say this. Will Smith, we know you're a good brother. Your body of work speaks for itself, not just as an actor, an artist, etc., but as a humanitarian. Your heart's in the right place. We know that. And to engage in condemnation about Will Smith as a person into perpetuity would be wrong and cruel. But what I think you have to respect Will Smith is that it's pretty hard for any black man, any black person, but especially any black man. And I'm not saying that white folks shouldn't be appalled either, like Jim Carrey spoke out against them along with various others. And I agree with Jim Carrey. I might have had him arrested. I wouldn't have had him arrested. I would have tried to whip his ass. But somebody else, I can understand how they would have wanted to have him arrested. They definitely would have sued him for hundreds of millions of dollars. I get that. Me personally, I would have tried to handle it differently, just in terms of an initial instantaneous reaction. But I would say this. Will Smith, you slapped a black man on national television. A man that's 50, 60 pounds lighter than you. I don't believe you would have done that to 50 Cent. I don't believe you would have done that to Michael J. White. I don't believe you would have done that to Snoop Dogg. I don't believe you would have done that to Dwayne Rock Johnson. And I don't believe you would have done it to anyone white. I don't believe it. You did it to him. And let's analyze for a second the damage that Will Smith did to himself and to his name. How about the fact that Will Packer was the first black man to produce the Oscars, the Academy Awards? And that was the moment we all walked away with. As tremendous of a job as he did, you stole that moment from him. You stole that moment from him. How about you stole it or you compromised the great Antoine Fuqua? He did direct and produce Emancipation. I believe we'd have been back up on that stage celebrating Will Smith potentially winning back-to-back Oscars for his performance in Emancipation. Because he was tremendous in that. But we couldn't celebrate him. Because fools in Hollywood stood up and gave him a standing ovation when he finally was rewarded with the Oscars minutes after slapping Chris Rock on national television. And to sit up there and say you reached out to Chris Rock and when he's ready to talk, come on, bro. It requires more due diligence than that. It really, really does. But having said all of that, let me tell y'all what Will Smith does not deserve. He does not deserve what Jada Pinkett Smith has done to him. Now, I know people very, very close to Jada Pinkett Smith. And I am not going to utter a disrespectful word about her. That's not where I'm going. It's deeper than that. There are a few questions that Jada Pinkett Smith deserves to be asked to her. Where's your compassion? Where's your decency? Where is your respect for a man you still acknowledge is your husband? Where is the respect for a man you walked down the aisle with and pledged your life to in 1997? For better and worse, through rich, through poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do you part. It wasn't just talking about staying married. It talked about honoring those vows, at least to some degree. Where's all that? Stephen A., what the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Well, let us count the ways. Jada Pinkett Smith. What's the dude's name? August? What the hell is his name? I don't know who he is. I know he was the friend of your son, who's 21 years younger than you. What you do is your business. Any women out there that wants to be a cougar with a dude of legal age, that is your business. But the operative words are your business. Did you have to go and tell everybody? Go ahead and do it. Why everybody had to know? Why? Why did everybody have to know? You didn't tell them what you did when you were doing it. You didn't give them those details. Wasn't no porn movie. Wasn't no X-rated movie. It was nothing. Why? Because it's none of our business. So why talk about it? Keep it to yourself. And you keep it to yourself not just because it's yourself, but because it's a man who loves you, who married you. He deserved that? Seriously, he deserved that? Somebody got to say it to Jada, plain and simple. Go to the Torah, go to the Bible, go to the Holy Quran, pick whatever you want. Let's talk about the role of a wife. At least from the perspective of just sparing him. I'm not getting in the right and wrong. It's none of my business. I don't know about them. I don't want to know. But I know that it is uncomfortable and grotesquely unfair to emasculate your husband publicly. Publicly. He's Will Smith. How much smaller do you want to make him? How much? He deserved that? Will Smith, I'm not disrespecting your wife. Jada Pinkett, I'm not disrespecting you. I swear to you, I'm not. I'm just asking a question because you let us into your business. Why? Why? Will Smith is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And I looked up this credit. Let me tell you something right now, because Jada Pinkett Smith, I got a problem with you in this regard. You don't appreciate yourself enough. Madagascar 1, 2, and 3. By the way, you were in those movies with Chris Rock, by the way. Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions. You were great in Collateral. Loved you in the Inkwell. Oh, Girls Trip was off the chain. Oh, it's off the chain. I love that movie. You, Latifah. Oh, my Lord. And Regina Hall, it's a soft spot for that woman. It's a soft spot for that woman. I love me some Regina Hall and her beautiful self. I mean, come on. I'm just looking at it right now and I'm just saying to myself, what's up? Help me out. Help me understand. How could you do this? I'm just wondering. Let me not forget Tiffany Haddish, by the way. I apologize, Tiffany. Keep doing your thing, girl. You make me more and more proud every day. And by the way, when I met you years ago, I'm sorry if I was a bit, distant or whatever, but I was focused on fatherhood. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, I had some stuff to deal with, but I know you're a wonderful actress and comedian, and I wish you nothing but the best, but I digress. Jada, what's it going to take? You went on Red Table Talk talking about an entanglement. Why? If I remember correctly, you once said that you didn't enjoy making love to your husband anymore. Why? Why? If you getting your groove on with somebody else and you're fulfilled, why worry about what he's not doing? If you have been separated for 7 years, why talk about what you think or what he did do? You were separated, right? Why? Why? He's Will Smith. By the way, Will, I just finished watching Focus the other day. Love that movie again with you and Margot Robbie. I love that movie. I can't even tell you how many times I watched Hitch. Because Eva Mendes, Lord have mercy. Oh my God, I'm just trying not to get distracted. I'm just looking at a whole bunch of stuff. This is Will Smith. I, Robot. I've seen it about 20 times. Bad Boys 1, 2, and 3. Loved 1 and 2, a little bit more than 3, but loved all 3 of them, but more 1 and 2 especially. This is a superstar, an iconic figure in Hollywood, a box office attraction. But you ain't no slouch, Jada. You can act, you're gifted, you're intelligent, you're smart. We know what you bring to the table. You were fabulous in Girls Trip. My favorite scene was when you and Tiff were going up against the other sorority girls and jamming the way y'all were jamming in the club. Go ahead, girl. We got love for you. At least we once did. Because as a man, ladies, let Stephen A. break it down to you. I know I'm not married and all this other stuff. It's because I don't want to be yet, damn it. I don't want to be yet. I'm getting there. One day. Maybe sooner than later. Maybe not. Don't know. We'll see. But women ain't no problem. I'm fine. Stop worrying about what other people's status is and listen to wisdom when it's being dropped on you. You cannot emasculate your man and think things are going to work out. Not only are they not going to work out with him, but if you do it publicly, it's going to send a message to every man, that's what she would do to me. Why would you do that? You want to mess with some dude that's your son's friend, as trifling as that may seem in people's eyes, that's your damn business. You want to break up with your husband and all of this stuff, that's your business. But this public emasculation needs to stop. Jada, all you're doing is elevating the level of vitriol coming your way, because it don't matter what you say. There's nothing you can say to a man to justify what you have done to Will Smith. Nothing. Now, Will come to your defense, as he should. He's your husband, and he loves you dearly. And it's not for me to judge anything about y'all life, y'all private life, but I damn sure could judge him for slapping Chris Rock. I damn sure could say he lucky he wasn't just roaming the streets after that ordeal transpired, because I'm here to tell you right now, there was brothers everywhere that wanted to get their hands on Will because it was so disrespectful. You wouldn't have done that to Ricky Gervais. You wouldn't have done that to Bill Maher. You wouldn't have done that to a lot of these cats. We know it. You know better. But even then, we can't help but rewind the clock to the greatness that Will Smith has put on display for decades and the contribution he has made to our community with his greatness in Hollywood. I met Will Smith when the movie Concussions was coming out. It's the only time I ever interviewed him. It was an honor. And I'm thankful for all that he has done. I'm not throwing any shade or disrespect on him whatsoever. But he was wrong to do what he did to Chris Rock, period. And you shouldn't rest. You shouldn't have a sleepless night until you get face to face with that man and apologize to him. Now, Chris Rock doesn't tell me everything. I am personal friends with Chris Rock, and I'm telling you, he ain't never told me Will Smith did that. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know, because I ain't asked. But he was wrong. And if there was ever a moment in time where Will Smith deserved his ass kicked, it was that night. But having said that, you automatically transition to a compassionate prose when it comes to Jada Pinkett Smith, because what she has done to him, it's exceeded cruelty. Somebody got to say it. I mean, damn. Come on, Jada. This is wrong. You can't do this. You can't treat that man like that. It's none of our business. You screwing somebody, that's your business. Your husband ain't getting it done for you, that's your business. He was somebody else, you was somebody else, that's your business. You ain't got to be like that. Especially while you still married to him. Get a divorce, give up the money. Got a prenup? Don't take anything from him. You got skills. You got a career. It ain't his. But how much do you need? Anything to get this to stop. Every time I see Jada Pinkett Smith talk about Will Smith, I cringe. And I have nightmares for any and every single man out there who once had a loving woman they pledged their life to, only to turn around and to watch them talk about you in a fashion that can only shrivel you to this. We kings. We kings. We ain't here to be treated like that. You're queens and you shouldn't be treated like that either. And I get that. And there's a responsibility that comes along with marriage and marital vows. And I understand. But even when they're not honored, even when they fall apart, that's supposed to be for you to handle privately. Tell me anywhere, biblically, scripture-wise, in any scripture, where it encourages you to publicize your personal business for profit when it negatively affects your spouse. As my man Joe Madison says, I'm gonna put it where the goats can get it. Jada Pinkett Smith, that's fucked up. Seriously. Seriously. You should stop. Because every time you do that, it instills a level of fear in men that makes them think, what if my woman does that? What if I get married and my wife turns on me and she does that? I've watched Red Table Talk on many occasions for years. You've empowered women. You've inspired women. You've talked about deep subjects that were a contributing force to women that helped make them better and make us better as men because it gave us a greater understanding of what you women go through. You're throwing all of that away. Because all we see now is a woman who seems hell-bent on sabotaging, excoriating, and emasculating her man while she's making money off of it. Keep it up, and some people going to sit up there and say, you ain't staying with him because you don't want to get divorced because of a promise. You stand with him because as long as your last name is Smith, as in Mrs. Will Smith, that's how you get paid. I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm saying that's the perception. And you can't get mad at perceptions at this moment in time. When you allow the perceptions to be put out there about Will Smith. A lot of us stopped being a fan of Will Smith, at least momentarily, because of what he did. But we'll get over it because he's too phenomenal and too great, and we love him. We just hate what he did. But that was a one-time incident with him. You've been doing this to him for years. Come on, Jada. Come on.